There's the man of the day, and he's got a yellow jersey waiting for him. Orica Scott have got the lead, but perhaps not with the rider they expected.
Sure, Damien Housen's not one of the big names of Australian cycling, not yet anyway. But on the road to Falls Creek, he emerged out of the shadows of his high-profile teammates
and he will win it.
and established himself as a genuine leader. Housen is now in the box seat, but Chris Froome isn't out of it. His defensive yellow starts on the tricky roads of Beechworth, where the opportunists will be looking for the winning breakaway. Stage 2, and it's the stunning Mount Beauty that plays host to the start of the stage. At the base of Mount Bogon, the highest mountain in Victoria. It's a wonderful destination for cyclists, skiers and bushwalkers. Plus in the town itself, it's got the beautiful pondage with nice walking tracks, picnic areas. But today, it is hosting the start of Stage 2 of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. Matthew Keenan and Phil Liggett with you. Phil, yesterday, to the top of Falls Creek, Damien Housen emerged not as a super domestique, but as a super leader of this race.
Yes, it was a classic day of racing, one of the best I think I've seen in the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. I could have imagined for a moment I was in the Tour de France. The high mountains were with us, good tactics, good attacking riding, and while we all looked at the two big favourites, two other riders got away and now head the leaderboard.
For Damien Housen to get the win, although it's only February, to win when Chris Froome is in the race, that's a big step in his career.
Huge.
Today, he starts the defence of the yellow jersey. We head to Beechworth, and this is anything but easy.
It's anything but easy, but I know that Damien will know the team will back him, because he got the permission yesterday to attack and he held it to the line. He was very, very strong. So focus now on Damien Housen winning this tour, because that's what the Sky team will certainly be doing.
And Esteban Chavez, he made it pretty clear that he was happier to see his teammate win as opposed to win himself, because Esteban gets a lot of support throughout the year from Damien Housen. Down with the favourites, David McKenzie is talking to some of the potential winners.
Yeah, I think if they hit the climb hard enough, there's only 10, 12 kilometres from the top of the climb to the finish line, so I think it'll be a really interesting stage and one that will suit our team. If we can get 5 right at the top of that climb, we'll look to do something, I'm sure.
It's not often that you guys, Team Sky, have to come from behind. You've got to do it now, so you've got a couple of days to do it. We're expecting a bit of a showdown.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard, especially today. I think it seems like it's going to be a lot more controlled. I think Orica have got a really strong team here, and I expect they've got a pretty good hold on the race now.
When you've got a yellow jersey on your shoulders, you have a new lease of life and a new perspective on the race. So full ambition to hold this jersey all the way into Sunday, and I've got the team behind me to be able to do that.
It's a lead that can be eaten into, so for you guys, have you got the faith in him that he can carry it all the way to the finish?
Yeah, very much so. Like you said, it's not a huge margin that he's got over second and third place, but I think it's enough, and we've got a great team here, so I think we'll do our best to defend that for the next couple of days.
Stage 2, talking tactics, Mount Beauty to Beechworth via Tallangatta. Yesterday the fireworks went off on Falls Creek. It was what we wanted to see. But the winner, Damien Housen, we didn't expect that. Nor did we expect the young Jai Hindley to do such a fantastic performance. Chris Froome, Esteban Chavez, they weren't in the front. They're now behind and chasing. What does Sky need to do? I think they need to mix it up. Throw some guys in the breakaway and put the pressure on Orica Scott. Then I think we'll still see a bunch kick.
The 165-kilometre stage, it's a picturesque one, leaving Mount Beauty and then heading down through the Kiwa Valley and ultimately to the finish line in Beechworth. On the way there, they stop off for 2 intermediate sprints and then the climb up into Stanley before the gentle descent down into the historic town of Beechworth itself. A beautiful ride, but a difficult race. The course profile, it rarely does it justice. That final climb is sure to catch a few by surprise. And when they get to the top, it's not a major descent, it just drifts down to the finish line. It'll be hard to hold on for the rider who's away at the top.
And Simon Gerrans, a 2-time winner beneath blue skies in Mount Beauty, well, he's got his own welcoming committee.
Familiar territory for Simon Gerrans, he's enjoying the experience. This is how it all started for him in his hometown of Mansfield. He, not too long ago, was one of those kids on the other side of the fence going to watch the start of the race. She Rides program, this is an initiative of Cycling Australia. It's part of their effort to grow the participation of women in the sport, whether it's to race or just go for a ride. They've got a variety of programs to make cycling just that little less intimidating. It doesn't matter if you're in Lycra or you're not in Lycra, on a road bike, on a town bike or on a mountain bike. And right now, as part of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour, they've got a special offer. So register for the She Rides program, visit their website, which is sherides.com.au.
Damien Howson in yellow for the first time in his life, a full day in the yellow jersey, all smiles. He took it so brilliantly as he climbed up to Falls Creek. The green jersey, the Metro sprint leader on the shoulder of Jacob Kaufman. He'll be in the hot seat again today. We're all set.
The kids had the right idea. They had the fingers in the ears, waiting for the gun to go off, and now they start. The first few kilometres are neutral as they get out of Mount Beauty, and then the flag comes in, and then the racing will really be underway.
Well, the wise cyclists will have ridden this course to check it out. It is not a simple course. Once we leave Mount Beauty, we head on to rolling roads, and it stays that way through stunning countryside with a couple of climbs, and especially with 14 kilometres to go, we top out the climb at Stanley.
John Trevorrow, the race director, three-time winner of the race, Olympic Games representative, a multiple Australian national road champion as well. Once he pops in the car and the red flag goes away, then the racing has started. Jai Hindley, what a performance yesterday by Jai. 20 years of age. He's the leader of the white jersey, the Victorian Government Best Young Rider classification, and one we'll be talking about for a long time to come.
Locked in the centre of the pack there, enjoying his moment in yellow, Damien Howson. He knows, though, it's all going to change soon because the hills surround the valley here as the riders race out now in neutralised formation. The flag will come in. It's just on 4 kilometres today before we get the racing underway. Nice rolling road. It's time to go, boys, as the race begins.
Riding right at the front for the Orica Scott team with the red shoes, that is Mitch Docker, patrolling the front of the peloton as the first tacker comes, and it's JLT Condor who are on the move early.
And this did not surprise me in the least. This team based in the UK has attacked every day of this race, and they've had success as well. Now, they're all paying attention today. It's going to be a nervous start, I think. It's a good, smooth, wide road for early attacks to happen.
Jacob Kaufman, the leader of the green jersey classification, the Metro Sprint classification, he's paid very close attention to the front. A group has tried to go away. A couple of riders have come back. There's been a small fall in the peloton early, but both riders are back up and they're chasing and they're trying to rejoin the front.
Well, still trying to make ground on the field here, JLT Condor, but the reactions there. Kaufman in that green sprinters jersey, he's trying to get through to Tallangatta, because at 68 kilometres, that's the first competition for that green jersey. He'll want to be in any move that happens, and they're not allowing anything to go here. This is a very, very rapid start.
A great start to the race for JLT Condor. 2 riders in the top 3 on the opening day with the prologue. Yesterday, they had Steve Lampier in the breakaway all day long, and he got the bicycle beer most aggressive prize. This is Luke Rowe now, who is at the front from Team Sky.
Luke Rowe, normally a domestique, but we saw what happened with domestiques yesterday with Damien Howson getting away to win. Looking over his shoulder, decided nobody could work with him. He's going too quick, so he's continuing to put the pressure on here, and we can't quite see, but there is a gap opening up.
And Vic Connor Dunn is the rider in the dark blue colours. A flick of the elbow by Luke Rowe. He's not getting any support. This is the start of the first of the climbs of the day.
And basically coming to it all together, some 21 kilometres, that's all. But this race has been pushing around 48 kilometres an hour, picking up a slight tailwind, nobody able to break clear of the field.
And the rider who wears the King of the Mountains jersey, this is Ben Hill, who leads them over the top of the climb. He's got that jersey on loan from Damien Howson, but now with the points at the top of the first climb, he will move into the outright lead in the race for the King of the Mountains classification.
Right, the loan has been cancelled. Ben Hill is now the leader in the Subaru King of the Mountains. He gets 8 points. He was 4 behind. Joe Cooper 4 points. Lawrence Warbass gets 2 points there. There's still one more climb to come, of course. There could be changes later. Luke Rowe still on the move here, this time by Steve Lampier. Now, if you're watching our coverage yesterday, Steve Lampierre was an absolute giant through the roads towards Falls Creek, only cracked halfway up the last climb, and he's at it again today.
Steve Lampierre, what a performance to bounce back after that big breakaway. The chase is on. Connor Dunn, the tallest rider in the race. He's the man at the front, the dark blue colours.
And in the orange there is the Dutchman Addison, and look at this, trying to get across to them. He was in the first move, he got brought back. He's trying again, Kaufman here. He needs to be in this breakaway for the first sprint of the day. That's a very, very strong move. He's joined the leaders.
He's just made contact. He's got one teammate there. You can see in the light blue colours at the front. That's Josh Taylor. Moments ago we saw Kaufman. He was on the radio. I'm sure that he was screaming out to Josh, please wait, will you? I'm coming across. But behind United Healthcare, they're also chasing.
It's easy to see why Melbourne is the undisputed events capital of Australia. The vast sports precinct that includes the famous Melbourne Cricket Ground and the venue that hosted both an Olympic and Commonwealth Games. And of course there's always the walk down the laneways or the entertainments, especially in Federation Square. Not far away you can run along the coastlines, you can even see the 12 Apostles, or is it 11? And of course the vineyards abound here in the area around Melbourne.
7 leaders, but there's a group of 3 who are also trying to come across. This group, though, is working well together. It won't be an easy journey for the 3 chasers. Steve Lampierre, number 64, he takes a look across his shoulder. This is Tanner Putt, who is leading the chasing group.
And the man in the orange at the back is Nicholas Katsunis and also Alexei Sachevic in the centre of our picture. 3 strong men trying to bridge the gap. No reaction from the field. Enjoying the sun down the valley by the look of it.
Tanner Putt from the United Healthcare team in the blue colours, now at the front of this group. It was his team who was doing the chasing, and now he's got the responsibility to get across. They can almost reach out and grab them, but not quite. Kaufman, second day in a row in the breakaway for him, just like it is for Steve Lampierre.
And he's worked for it too, because he wants to increase his lead in that Metro Trains green jersey competition. Not too far away from Tallangatta now, 68 kilometres in when we get there. That's the first sprint point of the day. 7 men trying to go clear. It's a big size group this, but nobody affecting the destiny yet of yellow, because the best placed man is Lampierre, 7 minutes back.
Big turn of pace by Nicholas Katsonis from the Drapac Patsveg team.
Still a long way.
Really hard to make this chase.
But because of this tailwind, they're having to really ride at 50 kilometres an hour here to try and cross this void. It's going to be a tough call. Here's the peloton. Not surprisingly, it's the Orica Scott riders in amongst it, looking after the yellow jersey.
And he sits on the wheel of Mr. Experience. Damien Housen with a thumbs up. He follows number 11, which is Simon Gerrans. And then the climbing sensation from Colombia, Esteban Chavez, is behind Housen.
Not too bad to have those 2 guys looking after you in a very, very nice sandwich there. 4:26 the gap now. The 7 up front are moving clear.
Sam Bewley is the rider at the front of the peloton for Orica Scott. Luke Rowe from Team Sky, the Welshman, he's the one who started it all.
Yes, he most certainly is, and there's plenty willing to go with him here. In fact, they've all merged up here because this looks like we've got 10 riders now together, so the 3 have got across.
Bit of relief that they've made contact, and Tanner Putt at the back. Oh, he was trying to stretch, and then it looked like he started to cramp. He really does need to stretch.
He's taking a drink instead, and that's the answer. Get plenty of fluid into the body, keep those cramps at bay. There's an awful long way still to come, and all of the challenges of the day ahead.
Strong rider in the group in the black and red colours of the ISOA Sports Swiss Wellness team. That's Robbie Hucker, young Australian team. They'll be pleased to have one of their men in this strong breakaway group of 10.
The Bendigo boy, a very strong rider he is as well, and useful man for the area, I guess. Well, there's the 10 leaders, and they swung back onto the highway here. We're bound for the undulations which lie ahead, and some beautiful countryside as we head in towards Beechworth.
This is the first of the intermediate sprints in Tallangatta, and no real challenge. Jacob Kaufman getting the points ahead of Robbie Hucker. Steve Lampierre in second position.
I think that's a good sign of respect for the rider, that the points that the others would score wouldn't affect the overall standings. So let Kaufman, who's worked hard to be in this group, get the 6 points that matter there.
It also adds to the cohesion of the group. With no challenge, there's no disruption to their rhythm. Kaufman will be pleased with that scenario. The peloton now making their way through. Sam Bewley from Orica Scott, it is, who's at the front. Lined up in 3 big teams. In fact, most of them are in team formation. Orica Scott, Sky, and then the Quarter-Mentor real estate team, the young Australians.
Now, as we leave the town, we're going around the back streets here quite literally, and these people who own these properties have the most stunning view of the lake here. The riders are going to go right around it to rejoin the race route. And, well, they might. Now, they were timed through the peloton, 4 minutes 53 seconds behind at the sprint point. As we look here at Chris Froome loading up for the rest of the day, in a bit of a difficult position just now. Chris, he's got a teammate up in the break. He's just got to watch and wait.
Is it a difficult position or is it a good position tactically? A strong place for Sky. For Orica Scott, we heard from Chavez yesterday, delighted to see Damien Howson get the victory. He's only 24 years of age, Damien Howson. He's gone grey early, but he is still very young. Don't be fooled.
No, he knows what it's like to win a pro race. Now he knows what it's like to wear yellow. He's hungry to win this race if he can survive the next 3 days, of course. There's the beauty of the views across the lake. Coming back here, Kaufman's the man in green. This group isn't missing a beat. They are all pulling the weight in this breakaway, not least number 57 and number 5. That's Luke Rowe, number 5. 57 is Connor Dunn. This is Tanner Putt nearest camera. You go a long way, Matt, to beat a view like that.
And that's why I'm sure that Chris Froome was delighted. They did a small tour of the town before they head out to their next destination.
That's exactly right. And now we're starting to peel off now as we're lining up for Beechworth, still quite a way away. And as you can see, the speed when they pick up this tailwind, it's gone out a little bit, 4:55 now. And all the school children, and this has become a feature of these last 2 days, are out in force.
It's the 3 R's for the school class early in the year: reading, writing, and riding.
I like that. Well done. 89 kilometres to go as we're now watching Kaufman on the front here.
Collects more points again in the race for that green jersey. The Metro Trains green sprint classification, 6 more points for Kaufman, 4 for Hucker, and 2 points for Steve Lampier.
Exactly the same order. They went over the line a few kilometres back.
Kaufman in the break again to clean up the early sprints. It's a hilltop finish, so he'll struggle a little bit there, but job done. 4 out of 4 sprints over 2 days. We're pretty happy, and now we're just going to roll the dice and see what will happen on this hill.
Ben Kirsten, he's the sports director for the New South Wales Institute of Sport. With the green jersey, Jacob Kaufman. Now he's a guy that was a Commonwealth Games gold medalist on the track in the 1 kilometre time trial. So he's got plenty of empathy for Kaufman with the big climb that is still to come. Tactically, a perfect move by them.
Absolutely right, and what Ben said there, all the sprints so far out on course have been won by Kaufman. There are points for the winner, but the winners haven't been winning on course. So Kaufman's got himself a nice little lead here, and the gap's still going out, albeit by just a second or two, which to me tells me the peloton have worked out the speed of this breakaway, and they don't want to catch them just yet.
Well, it's been fast. When we saw that beautiful aerial shot of the peloton, they were strung out in single file. They now make their way through the feed zone, so they will slow down a little bit. But this race is around about 15 minutes ahead of schedule. It has been quick.
Coming into the most dangerous part of any bike race, that's the feeding station, as the riders try to seek out the soigneurs, passing up the bags, grabbing them when they can, and hopefully seeing the other end as they exit. Damien Howson, nice and relaxed here, and he's got the pressure off him just now.
A new experience going through the feed zone for Damien Howson. Often he's in there collecting the biddens, the musette bags, and passing those over to the leader. Today, he can get out of the trouble zone and wait for somebody to deliver the bags to him.
Yeah, going for punishment. It's bloody warm. Australia's turned it on today.
I'm not sure whether his accent's Yorkshire or Cornish now, because he was born in Cornwall, but he lives in Yorkshire where the racing is more prevalent. But that was Steve Lampier, and he's in the breakaway for the second day in a row. There he is, number 54, just near the back at the moment. But this course again is suiting him today. He deserves success.
They've been brilliant, JLT Condor. They've featured in everything so far. Chris Froome looking very relaxed, sitting at 1 minute and 12 seconds behind the yellow jersey, the defending champion. He's got a teammate in the breakaway, that's Luke Rowe, which tactically puts Team Sky in a very strong position because the Orica Scott team, they've had one or two riders all day long setting the tempo at the front. So the yellow jersey, if they do decide to attack him, he'll be down to just one or two key teammates on the final climb to Stanley.
This is a perfect breakaway for the race leaders because there's nobody up there affecting the destiny of that yellow jersey at all. Luke Rowe lost a lot of time towards the end yesterday, having done his job as a faithful teammate for Chris Froome. So he's not a threat to take the race lead. And he hasn't in fact won a race since 2012 either, the year he came on to Team Sky back in 2012.
Breakaway group we heard just recently from number 64 at the back, Steve Lampier, speaking about just how hot it is. The group of riders we saw moments ago collecting water bottles from the side of the road, all the Russians from the Gazprom Rush Velo team. A huge turnaround in temperatures for them.
I tell you what, out here in the heart of the state of Victoria, the crowds have turned out both days. We love Matt and Robbie. Robbie who?
Can only be Robbie McEwen.
I thought it might be Robbie Hooker today.
Well-informed supporters on the side of the road. Thanks for the support, but the race is where it matters the most.
Name that spider.
I can't.
Oh, it's an orb spider. Never mind, as we watch here the main field go by and out into the country. This is a great race. It's cat and mouse yet as we go towards the hills. Australia is famous for its beaches, and in Melbourne you don't have to go too far to find them. Melbourne is the perfect combination of the old and the new, with stunning World Heritage listed architecture, as well as contemporary public places like Federation Square. Or you can just go down the laneways, which offer an eclectic collection of bars. Get out of town, experience some of Victoria's magnificent coastline, while Melbourne itself comes alive after sundown.
Robbie Hooker back with the team car, the breakaway group of 10. They continue to work well together. The temperature now into the mid-30s. No rider in this group a threat to the yellow jersey, but their advantage still hovering towards the 5-minute mark.
Yes, they're being held by the race now. This is Luke Rowe back at the team car as well, just having a chat, looking quite relaxed, happy with the way. They've come out with a plan today, that's for sure, and this is the first part of it. 4:41. Been around there for absolutely kilometres.
Back to the race soon, but first Danny Van Poppel following in the footsteps of a famous father. It comes with pressure he is coping with.
You had some great memories, some fond memories of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour.
Yeah, long time ago. First time here in '88. Yeah, it was unbelievable for me. First time in Australia then, and yeah, I love this country and I love this race actually. It's really had some character, and yeah, to be here now again, it's really nice.
Do you know much about when your father came out here and raced?
No, he told me a little bit about it, but he told me yesterday that he won 3 stages, so, and he didn't ride the leader's jersey, so that was funny, yeah.
Do you have much interaction with him throughout the race, because you're on opposing teams, so effectively you're trying to beat them?
Just father-son talk. He's doing well. I'm proud of him, of course, and he's in a super good team, best team of the world, I think, and he gets good support. So just talk to him as a dad.
And then I guess one day, the ultimate dream for you to follow in your dad's footsteps, the ultimate prize, a stage win at the Tour de France.
Yeah, that's the biggest goal, but I did 2 times Tour de France, but I say always I will come back if I can win something there, so I hope in a few years.
He's the son of one of the great sprinters of the 1980s, John Paul Van Poppel, who's been a stage winner in this race and a green jersey winner at the Tour de France. Danny is now bursting out of his father's shadows.
He's right at Federation Square. For you, obviously, you would have loved to see one of your team riders win, but to see him win there.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You know, we have a lot of young riders in our team who really wants to go to that kind of team, so we give them a chance to to show themselves in this kind of races. And who knows, in the future they can race for big teams like Sky and Orica Greenhouse.
When Denny made his debut at the Tour de France, he was the youngest rider in the race at just 19 years of age. He'll get back there at some point, and I'm convinced he'll achieve his objective and win a stage.
Yeah, it was a bit young, I think, to put him into the Tour de France, but time will tell. Jean-Paul has one man in the breakaway. He sat at the back in that orange jersey. That's Tim Harrison. So he's got a man in the move today. They're still working very well together, but this road is gently rising now, and the gap is still around 4 minutes 40. He's just not moving.
They know the process at this point. They continue along this valley road for roughly another 7 kilometres and then make the right-hand turn towards the climb to Stanley. Still at the front, Sam Bewley from Orica Scott.
Well, it might change now because this is a very determined group of riders now. They know they're closing in. It's come back nearly 30 seconds, 4:14.
This team in the pink, this is the St. George team. The reason they're coming to the front, one of the smallest teams in the race, is they still think that Ben Dybel, who's second last in this group, can win the stage. In fact, third last now as we go a little bit wider with the orange shoes on. He's a brilliant climber and a strong time trialist.
Well, we'll see what he can do against some of the best riders. Sam Bewley, the big pace man for Orica Scott at the moment. 25 kilometres to go, but 5 of those are up a very steep climb, known locally by the club cyclists as being pretty hard.
It's good to see that the St. George team, they're not intimidated by the big squad, Sky and Orica Scott, and they are optimistic. This is Connor Dunn just before the official start of the climb, and he has a front wheel puncher. There's no justice.
That, you're absolutely right, Matt. That is really bad luck. We're about to go onto the climb now, or the gentle slopes to it. He should get back. He got a very fast change there. He's full of enthusiasm, and he's been in front of our cameras a number of times over the past week at various venues. But the race now is under pressure. They're on the climb chasing the breakaway. Take a look over the back. We're losing riders.
And the New South Wales Institute of Sport, 2 riders in the breakaway, they're both losing contact, and now they're setting the tempo for Dylan Sunderland, who's third in line.
Now, big test moment there for the yellow jersey. He was under control, looked pretty cool, I thought, at the moment. This is Andun is back. He's got into the group, but the group now is all under pressure here. They're scrambling for anybody's wheel. Not surprising, it's Lampierre setting the pace, 64.
And they fear the climb. They're playing a bit of a game of cat and mouse. Luke Rowe, though, he's not waiting. The Welshman is the first to go.
I tell you what, he sensed this breakaway was beginning to slow down just a little bit too much, and that has got rid of our first man, because that is Josh Taylor. He's gone.
Taylor loses contact at the back. Connor Dunn still trying to recover, number 57, from that big chase to rejoin the group. Steve Lampierre, he's still maintaining the tempo at the front. He was in the breakaway all day yesterday.
Yes, he was, and he's put some pressure on there. Tanaput chasing him, so too Alexei Satchevich. But they're all desperate. This is the beginning of the end for this break as we know it, because there goes Dunn again, realising that Tatchevich has tired. He's gone round in quickly. Lampierre going clear with Tanaput.
Well, Tanaput won a stage last year in the Inverloch, a sprint finish. Today he's showing us his climbing legs.
3 minutes 50. That attack has helped them, but they've gone inside 4 minutes, and that's for the first time for the best part of 100+ kilometres.
The main peloton, they're just about to start the official part of the climb, but the real climbing doesn't get underway for another few Ks. Luke Rowe, number 5, the man who started it all.
Yep, joins on. Putt, Dunn has gone over the top. Luke Rowe has joined them. We're officially on the start now. We've been climbing for a little way, but this is when it hurts, and 4 riders going clear. I think the rest are cooked, and the green jersey is going off the back as well, but he's done his job today, Kaufman.
Mission accomplished for Kaufman. He's won the 2 intermediate sprints. The New South Wales Institute of Sport still setting the tempo at the front. Angus Lyons is the first of the riders in the quarter Mentor real estate team, the Australian national squad. They had 5 of their 7 riders in the top 10 on yesterday's stage to Falls Creek.
They're threatening to do the same again today. They're right up there at the front. This is the breakaway. Still hasn't completely given up, still trying to recover, but Connor Dunn, flick of the elbow there to Tanaput, saying, come on, set the pace. Steve Lampierre wants to come through. Don't think he can at the moment. And Luke Rowe grimacing. They're crawling back to this group.
It's Robbie Hucker who is doing the chasing. Luke Rowe, it's drink time. He doesn't need any extra weight. He ditches that, bitten off on the side of the road.
Now the main field here, actually if you look at this field, this has shrunk alarmingly here. It's nothing like the whole pack at all. The boys in black on the left, Team Sky, trying to get to the front here. They've got Chris Froome up there, rejoin the leaders. Kaufman in the distance has gone off the back.
And it's Tanner Putt who's still at the front setting the tempo, followed by Connor Dunn, then Luke Rowe. And Robbie Hucker is scrambling across, trying to anyway, but he's not quite there. He's not in the slipstream. Not that it's a big advantage on the climb, but psychologically it helps to be in contact.
These are 7 or 8 different riders now. There's no collusion at all. They're throwing it at each other. This is back to the main pack. Team Sky have now got control here, just checking over to make sure the taller figure of Chris Froome is in touch, and he is. The boys in white, the Aussie national team, also scrabbling to hold on to the wheels. Decisive moment, I think. Meanwhile, Tanner Putt trying to climb away from the field.
He is. They're still holding on to a 3-minute advantage. Luke Rowe, he's been calm. He started it all. He was the first to attack at the base of this climb. Now he's being patient, and he gets back across to Tanner Putt.
Well, this is a beautiful climb to Stanley here, and we top out 14.5 kilometres from the finishing line in Beechworth. Tanner Putt checking over. He's found that Luke Rowe has stuck to his guns. Coming across, are these two going? Is Connor done? Dare I say it, done for, as he starts to look back over his shoulder.
Nicholas Katsonis certainly is. This is Sebastian Henao at the front, followed by Chris Froome. It's then Kenny Ellison. But where is the yellow jersey? Damien Housen is not in this group.
Well, this is amazing. We are hearing messages from Radio Tour that he's got a mechanical problem, but we haven't got any pictures of him. Sebastian Henao setting the pace. I wouldn't think at this moment in time these riders have realised that the Maillot Jaune is not with them.
And with a group this big, it can only be mechanical. His legs were so good yesterday, he won to the top of Falls Creek. He wouldn't be dropped. A mechanical problem for the yellow jersey. Housen is being put under pressure as Putt and Rowe are aiming for the stage victory.
Well, as we look at the front of the race here, we are hearing, in fact, that the race leaders had a front wheel flat tyre and the whole team has dropped from this group to try and bring him back.
It's Sebastian Henao at the front. That's at the head of the peloton anyway. Tanner Putt and Luke Rowe, they're at the front of the race.
And hoping to stick to the guns here. We wondered if a breakaway could stay to the end. I'm still not convinced it can, because that group, now that they have no yellow jersey, is going to keep the pressure on. This is Hucker and Dunn. They're not out of it. They could contact these two front runners. I think the rest of the break has gone now. This is the black jersey. These are the black jersey of Sky. And a lot of grimacing. Cast your eyes down the back. There's no Orica rider here. They are still behind with the yellow jersey.
Not a single yellow helmet in sight. Putt still setting the tempo, and Rowe has been waiting, just sitting on the American's wheel.
Well, both riders are performing extremely. It's now extremely hot too. The temperature going into the low 30s now. Dunn and Hucker are slowly but surely clawing the way back. It's a long climb, this, just over 5 kilometres. The group here, led by Team Sky, is depleting rapidly. Chris Froome is third reel in line.
It's a very select group. Henao at the front, followed by Froome, then Kenny Ellison. Ben Dybel is the next in line. And still 4-5 riders in this group from Quartermenta Real Estate, including the white jersey, the best young rider, and that is Jai Hindley, as Luke Rowe is going forward on his own.
Luke Rowe, who has been in the attack from the beginning here, is going again, and this time he's rid himself of everybody in what was a 10-man break, and he's got rid of Tanner Putt, but this isn't Tanner Putt. This looks to me, oh, it is Tanner Putt who's still going backwards. The other two are picking him up.
Luke Rowe, he really lulled Tanner Putt into a false sense of security. He was sitting behind him, and every time Tanner looked over his shoulder, Rowe was grimacing. That was a fake grimace. This one is a real grimace.
Luke Rowe trying to go clear and get his first win since 2012. The gap has come down to just over 3 minutes to the main part of the field containing Chris Froome, but nobody else from Orica Scott. We haven't got any way of showing the pictures, but behind there is a pursuit which is absolutely dramatic lower down the mountain, and it's being enacted at around 45 seconds behind this group.
So the virtual leader of the race at the moment is Jai Hindley in the white jersey in the overall standings in the battle for yellow, because Housen is off the back and using all of his Orica Scott teammates not to win the race, but to save the race.
Architecture bounds in Melbourne, from the beautiful parkland at the River Yarra, which goes through the CBD district. This is the place for fun, pleasure and business. And once you leave the centre of the city, you get out of town, you experience some of the famous stretches of beaches and of course some of Victoria's magnificent wineries. It's the place to go at any time of the year.
3 minutes and 15 seconds. That's the advantage for Luke Rowe, back to the main peloton, which is being led by his teammates from Sky.
But what drama is going on down this mountain, because the yellow jersey, Damien Housen, is in danger of losing his jersey to one of the youngest riders in the race, Jai Hindley. Down there, the whole team has gone back, and one by one they are peeling off, doing their best to keep him in touch with this move.
And meanwhile, this is Ben Dybel at the front. Froome is now simply following the move of Ben Dybel, and that's exactly why we saw the riders in the pink colours from St George coming to the front at the base of the climb. Rowe is oblivious to all that is unfolding with the yellow jersey. He's got one thing in his mind: destination Beechworth.
Once over the top, he's 14.5 kilometres left to ride. The gap is coming down because the counter-attack is on. Now Chris Froome is riding second wheel here and not doing anything to chase the gaps down because he's got his teammate in the lead.
But that's one way to take a break from work in the tractor up the top. A beautiful view. This is Ben Dybel, followed by Froome. It's then Ian Bibby. Jai Hindley, the white jersey, who's the virtual leader on the road. He's under a little pressure.
These boys in white are young, but they are a class act. There are 21 young riders in this race, and 19 youngest are coming from Australia, and a few of them are in this move. What a great future Australian cycling has. Now it's up to Chris Froome here. He's picking up the revs as well. He's not chasing down his teammate, but he's trying to get something out of this race. Remember, he lost time yesterday. He's got to get it back today.
He started at 1 minute and 12 seconds behind the yellow jersey, and when it's Chris Froome, it's never over until it's over.
Oh, it's caused a bit of a problem here. Dybel is trying to close the gap. He was making the pace moments ago. Behind him is Ian Bibby. Then we got Jai Hindley in the lighter blue jersey down there as well. They're holding Chris, but boy, they're fighting to hold him.
Dybel, Bibby, Storer, then Hindley. Cameron Meyer is there, so too Kenny Alizond. And Froome now is on his own, but is he free to fly?
Well, there are still riders in front of Froome, including this man, of course, who's heading up the race and is the Sky teammate of Chris Froome.
Just look over the top of the SRAM neutral service vehicle. The two chasers, Tanner Putt and Robbie Hucker, they have not surrendered.
No, they're still trying to hold on here. We're approaching the top of the climb as they continue up. But the drama continues down this slope because we're getting news now, 50 seconds behind for the yellow jersey.
The green jersey for the Metro Trains points classification, Jacob Kaufman. Never even dreamt about following the wheel of Chris Froome up this climb.
And neither would he. He's done his job for the day. If the combinations work out, he's no possibility of being caught in that jersey, maybe even tomorrow.
That was Tacevic. Froome was about to catch a remnant from the breakaway. Rowe is almost over the top of the climb.
Just 100 meters to go. It's plateaued now. He'll cross the line and get the points in the Subaru King of the Mountains, but that's not what he is after today. He wants the victory. He's never won a race in a stage of the Tour of Britain back in 2012.
He's across the top. This is Froome. Tacevic is the rider that he's just leaving behind. He was in the breakaway. Dybel is trying to limit the losses to Chris Froome. The big story, though, is the yellow jersey, Damien Housen, is still more than 30 seconds behind Froome. Tanner Putz, Robbie Hucker, Steve Lampierre and Connor Dunn. They're the chasers behind Luke Rowe.
And the remnants of that original 10-man breakaway, they're still hanging in. They're inside 14 kilometres from the finish. Look at the face of the Welshman here on Team Sky, being chased, in fact, by his own team captain at the moment. He's 12 kilometres out.
In many respects, it's a similar story to what we saw yesterday. Rowe, normally the workhorse for Froome, getting his chance at the stage. Yesterday, it was Hausen, normally the workhorse for Chavez. But today, Hausen is relying on Chavez to chase down Froome.
Well, here is Froome, and momentarily he's caught up with Tim Arison here of the Rompot team. And Tim seems to be hanging on just for the moment.
Nicholas Katsonis at 200 metres to the top of the climb. Perfect timing for Katsonis. He should be able to validate his ticket on the Froome train.
Well, this is Froome's last chance to break the elastic on that group behind. He's at 200 metres to go. There you can see the plateau now as we come off the mountain. And that's a nice place to watch the race from. As you watch the race leader now, Luke Rowe, go over the top. He still has a good gap, but there's not that far to go.
The race that Rowe really dreams about is Paris-Roubaix. That's in April. In February, it's great preparation for that race. 4 riders from the Quarter-Mentha real estate team, and
amazing.
Here comes Yellow. He's got Chavez with him, Hausen having to do so much of the work himself.
Well, now Hausen has to do it all. Chavez is the only survivor with him. I think the rest of the team has gone off one by one. They've all done the best they can. Look at the face of now Esteban Chavez. What a man to set the pace for Damien Hausen. He could be saving the day.
The gap to Froome is still at 1 minute. This is extraordinary. Hausen only just holding on to Yellow ahead of Froome, but he's losing it to Jai Hindley.
Well, what a race it has turned out to be, and it's all happened because of that flat tyre in the front wheel to Damien Hausen. Now Froome has got up on the back of Ian Bibby here as the three of them try to speed towards the finish. But you know, the riders behind are beginning to close in, and there's no sign ahead of Luke Rowe.
Ben Dybel at the front of that group. He has had a big day out. A flick of the elbow at the front. That was Cameron Meyer. Now Jai Hindley,
well,
Lucas Hamilton and Michael Storer. Kenny Ellison at the back. Through Stanley for Luke Rowe.
It's a 4-man team pursuit there for the Quarter-Mentha Australian national squad, and the intruder is Kenny Ellison. He's not going to help as we see this group now is coming back together again. 4 riders have got themselves up here, but they've now regrouped behind Luke Rowe.
They're trying to chase Luke Rowe. Their deficits are around about 25-30 seconds, but they're not coordinated. Ben Dybel, the flick of the elbow. Chris Froome is on the radio. He's got Kenny Ellison with him.
They've regrouped, they've caught up with Chris Froome. We've now got a very select group of riders here. And Jai Hindley in that light blue jersey could be racing to a yellow one tonight.
Connor Dunn, he punched at the top of the bottom of the climb, and now across the top of the climb through Stanley, he's leaving the other 3 behind and trying to go on his own to the Welshman, Luke Rowe.
Well, this is amazing. Connor Dunn has attacked all week in this race and swinging to the far right to Chris Froome, looking round to see what is going on behind him. All of a sudden, he's got an awful lot of company here. The youngsters from the Quarter-Mentha real estate squad, they are here to tear this race apart, and they're up for it.
And look at Kenny Ellison at the front with the throttle fully open. He starts the day in 3rd place overall, is now moving to 2nd place as Luke Rowe is just checking the progress of the chasers behind him.
We've seen Luke in full cry before, but look at this, at 3 kilometres to go. They're hesitating here now, and Chris Froome is on the radio.
And he looks as if he's also having a conversation. This is Cameron Meyer at the back.
Yeah.
They may only just now be becoming aware of the fact that Hausen isn't in that group because of a mechanical problem as opposed to bad legs.
Well, you could well be right here, Matt, but certainly there's no doubt the man up front is now 2 kilometres from the finish, more or less. There's a little counter move. Well, somebody hasn't got the message here because Kenny Ellison has gone.
Well, they're not waiting, they're going. Ellison, the reaction comes from Jai Hindley. These are the riders now in the virtual lead of the race overall. Jai Hindley started the day in 2nd, is moving ahead of Damien Hausen, the yellow jersey, who is still desperately chasing. 1 kilometre for Luke Rowe. He's safe now.
He's safe now and he's going to get the victory, and what a victory. He deserves this one. Beechworth has seen this race before in the years gone by, but it's never seen them come into town with the road on fire like this. He's holding them off, and there are moments when he thought he could not have done so. Now the attacks are going to start. It looks as though we've got just attacking there. Cam Meyer is having a go. Meyer has gone clear.
It is Cameron Meyer, so there is certainly no waiting for Damien Housen. Cameron Meyer is charging. He's through the kilometre marker. Kenny Allison is now left to do the chasing. But where is the yellow jersey of Damien Housen? Here comes Connor Dunn. He's about to make the right-hand turn to the finish line in Beechworth.
Well, he deserves what he gets out of this race. He's the tallest man in the race as we go back to the finishing line. Up the final rise now. 100 metres to go. Forget the few seconds. He's not going to get yellow, but he is going to get only his second win as a professional cyclist. And on the second day running, the pacemaker for a top team has been given his head, and he's shown us all what he is capable of. And the Irishman, Connor Dunn, coming home for Aqua Blue. Well, he's worked for days for a big result. He's got it today.
And the wave was well justified. A second place finish. And now we see Cameron Meyer. This is Kenny Allison. 500 metres remaining, and the yellow jersey has been saved. Chavez leading the chase. Housen is back in contact, and he's at the top of the general classification.
Tanner Putt comes home, Robbie Hooker comes home, but in the distance, it looks as though the yellow jersey has contacted the group. 500 from the end, they'll all finish together, and Housen will keep his yellow jersey, and he's reached out and he's thanked Esteban Chavez.
Yesterday it was jubilation, today relief for the yellow jersey. As for Luke Rowe, it was only at the finish line. This was the only part of the stage he tried to ride slowly.
So Luke Rowe kisses the crowd, he salutes it, he wins his first race since 2012. Here he is with Matt.
It's been a long time coming. We said at the end of last year that it's about time I won something. So, yeah, I mean, there's bigger bike races out there to win, but, you know, win's a win. I'll take anything I can get. So, yeah, it's kind of surreal putting your hands in the air again and going through the winning motions. But, yeah, like you say, most of the time is spent working for others. So, when you get half an opportunity, you got to take it, and exactly what I did today.
You're 1 minute and 10 seconds behind inside the last 20 kilometres. Did you fear losing that yellow jersey?
Oh, definitely. Like I said, remaining calm was just the most difficult thing to do. I was stressing. I was nervous going into that climb. I knew it could have been a difficult ride to the finish, and how teams played their cards. But to be on the back foot in a course that I couldn't control definitely added an element of stress. But like I said, it makes it more bittersweet at the finish. You know, there was a moment where I was sat on the UHC guy, and there was a few guys behind, and I kind of just used him, and the gap just stayed a couple hundred metres, and I stayed on him for about a kilometre, and that was kind of like the foundations for it. And then I knew the climb quite well, and I knew the last bit was quite steep, so yeah, just hit it with about a K and a half to go, and yeah, it was home and dry from there.
Just in that last 50 metres where it really slowed down to absorb the applause in Beechworth. Fist pump for the minor place getters on the podium. There was Connor Dunn in second, followed by Tanner Putt, then Robbie Hucker and Steve Lampier. The 5 survivors from the 10-man breakaway. Cameron Meyer led home the rest of the peloton. The Bicycle Beer Most Aggressive Award, that also goes to Luke Rowe. The State Government Best Young Rider classification with Jai Hindley, who's at the top of the table there for the Quarter Mentha Real Estate team, with his teammates lining up behind him. It's Michael Storer and Lucas Hamilton in second and third place, followed then by Alistair Donahue and Dylan Sunderland at 3 minutes and 5 seconds behind. Second day running, Jacob Kaufman in the breakaway, and he collects the green Metro Trains jersey. He is 12 points ahead of Robbie Hucker. Damien Housen is 14 points behind. So too is Luke Rowe, with Jai Henley in 5th spot. King of the Mountains jersey, it was on loan today for Ben Hill, but he won the points on the first climb of the day. He now moves into the outright lead. Subaru King of the Mountains classification with a 4-point lead ahead of Damien Housen, followed then by Luke Rowe, Jai Henley and Robbie Hucker. The one that matters the most, the yellow jersey, the overall leader of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. There were some moments of panic, but in the end, he holds on to that 38-second advantage. It's Housen at the top ahead of Jai Hindley. At 53 seconds behind in third place, it's Kenny Allison.
After a stunning backdrop right throughout the stage, it's fitting that it finishes in beautiful Beechworth. An historic mining town, it's now well renowned for its restaurants, its bakery and the Beechworth Brewery. And you can ride from here on rail trails all the way through to the mountains. But the first man here today, Phil, is a guy that we normally see on the front working for others,
Yes.
Luke Rowe.
Yeah, another stunning day. This really is a spectacular race this year, not to mention the scenery. But for Luke Rowe, it was very, very special. He doesn't win many races for Sky, but he certainly earned that one today.
And yesterday we saw Damien Housen, who normally works for others. He took his chance. Today it's Luke Rowe. But Damien Housen, what a nervous defence of that yellow jersey.
Well, it was incredible. He gets a flat front tyre just as the climb bites, and the whole team drops back for him, and Chavez himself does a major work to get him back. He only got back to the leaders in the last 500 metres to save that yellow jersey. But the story coming out now is that Chris Froome decided to slow down as he didn't want to be involved in a race victory when the man who was leading was off the back with a flat. That's a gentleman for you.
It speaks volumes of the class of Chris Froome. Tomorrow it's a Mitchelton winery. It won't be a climber. The breakaway, surely they don't survive again. I expect a sprinter.
I'm with you on this one, but it's a very tricky run into the winery, but it will again be a spectacular day out.
Damien Housen will be in yellow for another day. Does he hold on? Will the sprinters get to shine?